Quantum expansion.
Astounding.
Creative energy.
Magical inspiration.
Connection.
Art spark.
Hi, my name is Miles. I'm a working model in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And one of the things that I love about modeling is getting to see the way another person views me through the lens or through whatever art they're creating. I've seen so many different artists take me, one person, and turn that into a witch, a magician, a different rendition every time. And it is so compelling that it keeps me doing that. I've been a model for 16 years and I have no intentions to stop anytime soon. So I'm honored to be a part of this project and I can't wait to see the art that comes out of it.
And if you could look down at it a little more. And I'm going to get a little closer to you.
Okay, here's the vision. You are looking into the camera, and there's an explosion behind you from the side going past you, and you had something to do with it. You're not sad about it. You're a little bemused, not like really super happy, but just like you have a secret.
It had to be done.
It had to be done, and you have a secret, and it's kind of exciting, kind of fun.
Okay.
So that's the feeling. And so I'm going to do some of you standing, just picturing this behind you. And then we'll have you in the chair also kind of leaning.
I'm really excited to be working with you. This is an absolutely wonderful opportunity. I haven't been able to do really live model work since art school.
Likewise, this has been an adventure, right?
So what I typically do is a lot of narrative art, which means I'm an illustrator. I draw scenes, pictures, things that tell a story. And what I'm going to do with you is probably going to be a lot of fantasy art, tarot art, esoteric stuff. So I'm going to have you interacting with Milo, who's going to be our stand-in wolf, because I do tons of wolves and coyotes in my work. And he's going to volunteer his services to be that. And I'm also going to have you interacting with some objects in case I need you to be my queen of wands or whatever. And my thing in artwork is I like to get a lot of hands and feet in there, and they have to be right. Like the attitude has to be right. People can tell automatically if you've drawn a hand and everything's off on the angles. So I'm going to have that because that's what I'm always looking for.
Okay.
And I'm usually having to composite a whole bunch of photos together and then try to fake the lighting so it all looks consistent. But I have an opportunity to just use you for that, and I'm very excited.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right. So I have all these different, I want the option of multiple arms.
I was going to
in case
ask if we want lots of arms. Yes.
And then I want some your hands doing different things, and I might have you hold my necklace.
Okay.
Like on a finger. And then there's going to be birds, because there's always birds.
It's like we're doing this casually and it's nice.
Yeah. Until the camera goes on me. Like when she's doing the interviews, that's when I'm going to be like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing I just captured that just now. So, how do you feel about being in this documentary?
I don't love it. Because I'm not really into working in groups or being on camera. I work usually very solitary. So it's out of my comfort zone. Some good things that could come from this are just making some nice connections with other artists. I want to try some new things in my work and maybe gain a little confidence in my creativity.
Well, I love a group project. I love working with other people and other women, and artists are some of my favorite people. So I'm very excited to work with other people and to create something together. But mostly I just want to work with other people to laugh and to share the experience of our artistic process and the frustration and the joy and the success and the failure, all of it, all the bells and whistles of creating what we end up with. I mean, we all are very different artists, and I think it's going to be interesting to hear how our journey goes from the beginning to the end. And it's a pretty great dynamic group of people, so I'm very excited about it.
I was actually looking for art documentaries on TV that I could find and watch and get inspired by. And there's a couple, here and there. But I thought it would be so fun to create our own here in New Mexico because it is an art mecca. I mean, there are so many artists and so much beautiful artwork out there to really come in and just be so inspired by.
So I was approached about this right after I had decided that I wanted to do more figurative work and kind of expand what I was doing. And also, I have a tendency to be really introverted and kind of hermit. I don't know. And so I don't like to be seen, and I've been kind of pushing myself to get on social media or do more stuff on camera. And this is, I guess, me kicking the doors in on the comfort zone a little bit and just putting myself out there some, which is kind of stressful. But I don't know. I feel like being part of a community makes me, I don't know, push myself a little bit more. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm really excited to work with a bunch of other artists, and I'm excited to work with a live model so that I don't have to collage a bunch of photographic references together and try to fudge lighting and shadows and other things. That will probably still happen to a certain extent, but this is a great experience.
When I first heard about the documentary, I was extremely interested. A community is extremely important to me when it comes to art. It brings back memories of being in grad school and everybody working on things and inspiring each other and getting feedback. And I think that we all can benefit from that. And doing this documentary is the basis of it for me is that connection. The connection with the community, connection with the material that I use, connection with where I live and the energy that becomes a part of what I create. And hopefully the viewer catches that energy from the pieces that I create. I like having a visual of the light during the pose because it shows that we're actually shooting. We're doing what we need to do.
I just love this one when you can see through the sleeves.
Well, that and you've got wings on your backlit tab,
Yes.
so I love that. Oh yeah. So just working with Miles, I've shifted my idea a little bit as a standalone sculpture into a piece that is a vessel that the top part is very floral and organic, and it'll shift from that into her form. And it still will be based on flight or this idea of emergence out of that piece.
For a long time, I've been fascinated with clock parts and time travel. I love to take clocks apart. I love the pieces, the gears and the cogs, but I also think about taking time apart, about going back in time or going forward in time, exploring what would have happened if I had taken a different fork in the road. It's one of my favorite topics, and I love stories about that. And so on this project, I thought I would explore that a little bit. I wasn't really sure what that meant. I don't usually draw people, and this project started with photographing a woman, Miles. And I didn't really know what I was going to do with that because it's been a long time since I've done any life drawing or any portrait drawing. So I started with this thought of an exploding clock and exploding time. I think of time as a spiral, and you always come back to the same time, but maybe on just a different level. That if you went back in time, you would just skip down the levels to a different age or a different year. And so I was thinking about the image of an exploding clock, spirals, and then having this model Miles. I mean, she's just fabulous, and I guess I pictured her as sort of the mistress of time, or maybe the trickster of time. I started to wind a story in my head about me being interested in traveling back in my lifetime. And then this mistress of time saying, okay, but be careful what you wish for, and sending me back in time. And this is all what I'm thinking about as I'm sketching and drawing and trying to come up with images in my piece. So I created this sketch of Miles, and then an exploding clock in the background and a spiral with images of me at various ages in my life along this spiral traveling through time. But I got caught up in drawing Miles and wanting to really represent her, trying to get a good image of her. So I switched gears and I sketched. I did a little bit of portrait sketching and really liked what I was doing. I didn't catch her likeness so much in this first sketch, but I went on to draw a bigger version of her, and I really liked how it came out. I started out in graphite pencil, and then I added color pencil to it. I had really intended to work in watercolor, so I began again, an even bigger piece. As I usually do, I pencil sketched in the image, but I was having a hard time incorporating the exploding clock and the spiral of time and the little images of me, and decided to concentrate on the image of Miles and maybe some more simplified clock parts in the background. And I was also tapping into my Celtic ancestry, which feels right for me. So I sketched her and I watercolored her, and then I started to go in with pen and ink on top, and I was pretty frustrated because I don't really know how to do this, and so I came back in and worked in color pencil, and I got her to a point that I liked a lot. And I added these clock parts and this Celtic symbol in the background and a spiral up in space to represent time travel. But it wasn't my best work, I didn't think. And when I looked back at the pencil drawing that I'd done of Miles, I really liked that almost more. And so that's sort of where I ended up with this project, is that I've created two finished pieces, and they both have their merits. I like them both, but I say if I were going to present one of them to the public, it would be my pencil drawing. I think I'm more skilled in pencil at this point and still learning watercolor. I can do some pretty simple stuff in watercolor, but I'm still evolving and learning new skills. But this has been an amazing process to go through, and I never would have done it had it not been for this project.
When you create art, what are you trying to create? Are you trying to create something beautiful? Are you trying to create a message? What is beauty to you, and what are you trying to create?
Ooh, that's a deep one. I am usually trying to create beautiful images. There are people who specialize in like scary images, horrific images. I think mine generally tend to be on the pretty side. I'm usually trying to tell a story. Most of my stuff is narrative, which means that there's a specific action or feeling or vibe going on in that picture. There's usually something or someone doing something, or at least looking like they might. And I try to sprinkle in little clues of images that suggest a certain state of mind or a certain type of thing that might be happening. I tend to use similar motifs over and over again. You'll see wolves, and you'll see certain flowers that I like, and you'll see trees. And people tend to respond to them a lot because I think innately we are all storytellers. That was one of the first things that we did as human beings, was gather around a fire and tell stories. Okay, so here is more work on the Queen of the Night. That was me defining her butt. I'm going to be doing her actual figure in colored pencil. So this is what that looks like. And I had initially decided that I was going to do all of it in kind of monochrome purple and blue and white and nothing else. And that didn't last very long, because it needs more color. So now we've got full aurora colors going on her, which I think are going to be really cool.
So after the colored pencil, is that the final layer, or do you...
I have to figure out what I want to do with the background, because it's pretty basic. And I need to work on the planets, probably in colored pencil. But what I'm debating is whether or not I want to do a wash of more watercolor over some of the areas that are more gray, and make them more vibrantly colored. I typically don't do multiple washes, so I just don't know how the paper is going to act. I know you can do it, but I tend to take the attitude with watercolor that you need to get it down and get it down fast. Other people paint very differently, and they're like, no, I do wash after wash. I'm like, man, if you haven't nailed it on the first try, it's just going to fuck it up if you try to go in again. That's my debate, because I'm not thrilled with some of the color, but I don't know if I want to do that or if I just want to call it good. So we'll see once I get the colored pencil layered down.
You'll be able to tell more
what I think it needs. And I think a lot of it's just that I'm not used to dealing with gray, and there's a lot of Payne's gray in this.
I like the gray.
Okay, so maybe I'll just leave it.
Yeah, because color...
Maybe it gives your eye a rest.
Well, yeah, because if you do everything super bright, you know, it's like white, right? Like, a lot of people will selectively use white to really pop the highlights. And color can really pop when you have gray. The color will pop out. Like, she's probably popping out more because of that gray. Whereas if you put the bright colors everywhere,
like the purple.
Yeah, well, she just won't pop out as much. Like the greens and the aura colors you've got going on are probably look more colorful because of the gray.
That's a good point.
I like grays.
And there's a little push and pull where this is more colorful on this side, but I've left the planets a little more gray. Whereas here, where there's more gray, I've got a little more color in the planets.
I like it.
So, okay, good.
Yeah.
Then that's kind of what I needed to hear, is maybe go with it.
Go with it.
And for this particular piece, I've left it all very cool colors. Like, everything is cold. And there's... even the warm colors are very...
Because it's in moonlight?
Yeah, but even the warm colors aren't very warm. They're just warm in contrast.
They're like cool
Mhm.
colors that look warm.
Yeah. And that's all kind of on purpose. That's my unifying strategy on this one.
Which makes sense because you once told me, like, in the moonlight, you don't see warm colors like that.
You don't see any colors because they don't act. It's the moonlight's not bright enough to activate those cells in your eye. So if you go outside and you see any color, it's artificial light that you're seeing it by.
Right.
So if you've ever wondered what it's like to be colorblind, let's go outside at night. But you don't think about it, which is the weird thing. Is you just assume everything's in color.
Well, it's really pretty to see things in like under a full moon in monochromatic kind of light. That's
Yeah.
neat. It can be so beautiful, like in the desert.
So Renee, can you tell me something about your history in art?
Yeah, so the first painting I ever did was at a very young age. My dad wanted to play Bob Ross with me and my sister. So we actually did an oil painting when I was like, I don't know if I was around 7 years old. I was pretty young. And I loved it. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do in my life. So I was all about drawing and painting ever since that age. And at 12 years old, I got into a little art school.
Oh, great.
Where I was oil painting with 17 and 18-year-olds. And I remember them being very, very good. And I loved my teacher because I went to, in elementary school, I just remember my teacher had these like bug eyes and they would go from student to student and she was just like, it's like she hated us, And then I would go to my art school where it was more like college, and my teacher was fabulous. I mean, she was this beautiful young woman who was so gentle, and she was just like, let me show you this real quick, like measure this out. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was just like really powerful experience for me to be in such an open-hearted, loving space around art. Yeah.
Do you feel like art is a spiritual practice for you?
Absolutely. It's like the creative process is like, like I worship the creative process. it's my medicine. Yeah, it's I love that. I feel like I would come to planet Earth just to do this, and it's my purpose and it's my passion, and I don't think I could ever be anything else. So for me, it's about getting inside of myself and opening up what is beautiful inside of me and vibrationally feeling that as much as I can, like really widening that and opening up the heart and the mind, right? So in that way, it's the spiritual practice whereas if I can really hold that frequency, then the paint, the energy goes down from my heart, down my arm, through my hand, into the brush, into the original piece. And that original piece becomes like a portal, actually, to that energy. And it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like art is coming from another source.
I've got my art piece set up. It's a 24 by 36. I really need to go buy some modeling paste for this so I can get like a really beautiful background going, maybe with some inks and acrylics before I start the oils. So this is like 5 different photographs put together, layered over. We have all these different angles and perspectives to who we are, and we're really in motion. Everything is in motion. I'm also thinking about at the top of the canvas, kind of putting like a crow above her. I wanted to kind of talk about my process a little bit, what I'm going through as I shift my style through art school and through kind of finding what I love and my voice again. I've really come into loving texture. And then I love spiritual topics. So this is all about the mother, the maiden, and the crone. And so this would be the present woman. Or, you know, you might be in a different phase. But for me, I'm in my mid-40s, and in between the mother, I'm the mother, because the crone, you know, you have to be older and have gone through life and have gone through menopause, you know, and have really learned to stay centered through all the things life can throw at you.
Hi, welcome to my studio. Here's what I'm working on for this project. The photo that I took was this, and then I added on my computer some other elements. And I'm kind of basing this piece, on a recent piece I did that is mixed media, and I painted it, I sculpted with epoxy clay and painted everything and put resin on it. So I'm kind of going to try to take that same idea and build on it. And I also was reading a book about Sicily and how Medusa is kind of tied with Sicily. So I'm going to kind of do more of a Medusa thing.
So what do you feel like the symbolism of this painting represents?
I'm just kind of go for like a magical, mystical, moonlit goddess woman, tie into maybe some mythological stuff with Medusa, and just kind of like a little bit creepy. I also want to do something with the cow skull that I took a picture of. I kind of make a few. I have one back here. You want to see? Okay. Here's one of my creations. So I kind of want to try incorporating one of these into a painting. Not the actual piece, but
That's beautiful.
just like a reference. So yeah, kind of, I don't know, kind of mythological. Kind of tapping into like woman power, goddess, something.
And if somebody sees your work and loves it and wants to purchase it, how can they find you?
KimAmadiArt.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. All the things. I do commissions for people, and I just make stuff up on my own too. So this is one of the commissions that I'm working on. It's actually for my brother, and I'm not loving it right at this point. It's still in the transitional phases, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I'm not hating it.
I think it's super cute.
It's getting there.
Hot Dog Johnny.
It's basically taking a bunch of different elements that he wanted included in this and reformulating a view. So hopefully it'll come out good. We'll see. But I've been putting it off long enough. So we'll do that.
What's your favorite mediums to use?
My favorite mediums is doing my mixed media, my beaded things. It's fun. I feel most proud of things that I paint. So when I do a really good painting, to me that is like being a good artist. The other beaded stuff is like the way that I express myself and have fun. So
Can you show some of your beaded stuff?
Yeah,
I guess
can
the
go get
skull.
some.
I guess the skull was beaded when you beaded.
I can grab a couple other things. I think I don't have anything right here. So I like doing these and just putting lots of cool elements into one cohesive piece.
That's amazing.
So these are super fun. Excuse my mess. it is what it is. Few silly things. I'll show you one. And it's my crazy cat ladies. Oops. Just kind of silly. It's a Zia.
If you're a cat person, then this is a must-have.
It's kind of like low-key political too, a little bit, in a non-obvious way. And then more Zias, kind of popular right now. This one's just like Southwest items. Just things that I think symbolize the Southwest or New Mexico in particular.
Do you ever, okay, so here's your this, and then here's your paintings. Do you ever combine worlds and do that onto your paintings?
Yes, a little bit. I can show you.
So that's the Rio Grande, right? Or what?
That was actually in Chicago.
Oh,
Well, we could call
it looks like New Mexico.
Let's just go with the Rio Grande. We'll call it that.
All right, and more of your paintings here.
Oh, that little one is actually Eden's. This one.
Oh, the little one right there. That looks like Eden's work, yeah.
That's Eden's.
This is cool. So this is like sculpting on top.
Yeah, so that's kind of mixed media where I'm doing like dimensional paints and also painting on top of that. So that's kind of fun.
Beautiful.
And then something like this one,
Oh, yeah.
which is actually a self-portrait. It
I love
has
it.
painting and mixed media buttons and resin, and
Resin's hard to do.
it can be kind of tricky, but I think I've gotten a lot of practice in on it.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, and people seem to like the glassy effect it gives, so.
Do you want to be on TV? Hey, come here. Come closer. Come here.
No. These guys, I'm kind of playing a little bit with abstract. And so I'm doing some mixed media. I'm doing some coloring with, different types of markers. There's stained glass. I made my own frames with the epoxy clay that I use.
Nice.
So kind of trying to blend all the things that I love.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So kind of fun.
Yeah, let's see a few more of those.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for visiting my studio, and I hope you found what I am doing kind of interesting, and check out my art sometime. Thanks.
Hey there, welcome to my studio where all things possible happen. I know previously I talked about if you want to create something, just do it. So I have to live by my own words. Some of the things that I've actually created in the past that I still have available, I actually love doing collages that are like intentional collages. So community and spirit and inspiration and art. And then of course Frida's face is on this particular collage because I actually love Frida's work and in her free spirit to say, do what it is. And then as far as clay goes, I work with raku pieces, and that is actually firing it at a very hot temperature, 1800 degrees, and pulling it while it's glowing red and putting it in a can of burnable materials, and the smoke actually adds a lot of the color. So once I get done, I scrub it and go in and make some design choices with the lid, maybe a bead or a piece of driftwood to top off the raku pieces. And then this one, I just had a wire in to make it easier to remove, but you get the idea of the finished product will have some type of handle attached to it as well. Some sculptural pieces that I've worked on. I like working with the theme of a Mother Earth, and this is Mother Earth Emerges. You see the tree trunk and the figure, and this idea of her becoming, in a sense, like the tree trunk emerging into a form that we all recognize, but yet still somewhat tree-like with her hair. So I work with pieces like that. Many other ideas have been out of the studio. So when I worked with the model, Miles, I had this idea based on the first outfit that she had with the monarch wings. And I immediately went to this place of a female form emerging from a flower. And I wasn't sure what kind of flower. I did a little research. What do monarch butterflies, what are they drawn to? And I also wanted to incorporate something with a lotus flower. So basically that's what I did. And the first piece that I made, I was not happy with. It wasn't turning out. The clay had a different mind of its own. And so I ended up basically scrapping that one and starting over. And this one I actually built piece by piece. So I don't know if you can see, I don't want to lose it off the platform, but I've put each petal of the lotus on separately and had to make sure that it was attached well. And then I did the lotus pod, and I've done this separate so that when I get ready to add the female form and the monarch wings, instead of having it all one piece that's very precarious, it'll separate out into two pieces. And as a sculptor, that's a key question that I require of myself. How is it going to travel? How is it going to be loaded into the kiln and removed out of the kiln? And when you have pieces that are extremely delicate, that can be a problem where they'll break off. So I try to piece my final sculptures together in such a way that you'll be able to move with it easier without any breakage. It lessens the chance of breakage, I just say. So part of the process, this is actually considered greenware. It's never been fired before, so it's at its most fragile state. This is where a lot of breakage can happen, done it basically by lifting. And so there's a couple ways to glaze with underglaze. I like glazing before it's been fired so that when it is fired, the underglaze sets into the clay body. It absorbs it, it becomes permanent. It won't smear or wipe. And so basically I mix colors. It's very watercolor-like when I brush on underglaze because I can layer them. So if I am adding this green to the lily pad, you can see that it's somewhat translucent. And so when I do that, I can get some variegated colors or blended colors. So one of the classes I teach, I'm challenging my students, and so I challenge them to make an ocarina, which is a Peruvian whistle, but of course ceramicists and potters and clay artists have figured out ways to do different shapes. So I, as a sample, the challenge, of course, is to make sure it makes noise. I did a whale, and then his spout hole is actually something to change the tune. So we will blow in the tail, and then the whistle mechanism that actually gives it its sound is in the bottom, so you can't see it. And so I will go ahead and give it a shot. So my idea with the flower and the image of the model emerging from the center of the flower failed. I wasn't happy with it. So as you can see, I smashed down the first flower and then I started in on this second one. Okay, kiln goddess, do your thing. Lotus is coming out of the kiln.
Actually, a couple years ago, somebody came through my studio at the studio tour in Corrales, and they said that when they look at my art, it makes them feel joy. And I was like, that's the best compliment ever, you know? If you can make people feel happy.
Yeah. Is it all the pink? It's the pink.
I think it's the pink. It's probably the pink.
There's
There's a lot of
serious
pink.
pink going on there.
There's a lot of pink. Which is hilarious because I used to not like pink at all. I don't know what changed.
In true goth fashion.
Yes.
We are allergic.
I did think that, well, I still, yeah. Well, I don't, do I seem goth? I don't think I do. I do wear a lot of black.
Very cool. And the colors, do they relate to that too? Because you use a lot of super bright colors while doing, very wildlife, natural aspects of New Mexico, but then you bump them up to 11 or 12 or like 2000.
You know what? I didn't paint for a really long time. I went to art school and it kind of broke me a little bit. Yeah, not because art school's not great. It's great for a lot of people, but I don't know. I don't, maybe we call it outsider art. I don't know what you call it, but I am not very traditional. And there were a lot of sort of traditional ideas there, and there was a lot of critique. And not that I have a thin skin or anything, but I just didn't feel like I fit in ever. I just didn't feel like I was part of anything. And when I first started painting again, I felt like I was just going to experiment with color, and that was all I was going to do. So I started making a lot of like really textured, abstract, colorful pieces, and then I don't know, I kind of got hooked on it, and then I just sort of, I don't know, it kind of evolved into, well, now I'm going to paint animals, but I didn't want to paint them in like their regular traditional, like in a landscape or whatever. So I ended up doing this sort of mix of abstract and I don't know that I would call my animals realistic, but
I mean, they're anatomically correct and all
they
that.
they are.
You can tell that that's exactly what that is.
Yeah. My mom always called me her fly by the seat of your pants girl. And I have this sort of like, I don't know, let's see what happens. It'll be good or it'll be not good. And that is kind of what happens in the backgrounds of my paintings. I always kind of talk it up like, oh, it's this intuitive abstract. It's really just me being like, I don't know, let's see. You know?
Anyway, it's very important when painting that you have your mouth hanging open. It's like super important. You really want to like be a mouth breather, like a hardcore.
Yeah, we all took together.
Behind the table, yeah. It's
Yeah,
really
that's a
nice
good
of
one.
everybody.
Yeah.
Moon. It all looks pretty woo-woo and spiritual. And
But I guess we tapped into that from the model. Like,
Yeah.
probably,
She was a little woo-woo and spiritual.
yeah. And like her dreads got me onto the Medusa thing because they kind of look like snakes to me. So like, that's where that came with.
That's a beautiful piece, Kim. So what did you learn about Medusa?
I did not know that she was abused, and she was killed because she was abused in Athena's temple, which was only for celibate women. And even though she was raped, she was blamed. She was victim blamed. And that kind of put her in a different context for me. And then my family is Sicilian, part Sicilian. So she's used on their flag, her symbol. So I was always like, why are they using her symbol? And I guess it was to kind of intimidate their enemies. So kind of cool background. She kind of was one of the first, I guess, abuse survivors that was used as a symbol against like the patriarchy.
I was really out of my comfort zone with the whole project. I mean, getting together with a bunch of women artists was great and not out of my comfort zone. But having a human model to draw from, I just haven't been doing portraiture or life drawing. I've been drawing birds. So this was going into another area. And so I started drawing. I hated everything that I was doing. I had all kinds of great ideas and they just weren't manifesting the way I wanted them to. So then I thought I would, and the drawings of the model of Miles were not very good. And so I thought, well, I'm going to just concentrate on drawing Miles and get to know her face and her posture and everything. So actually I'm going to reach behind and I started sketching. And this may be my favorite part of the whole process. It may be my favorite piece of the whole process. Nice. But I like drawing in pencil. And so comfort zone. So I did that, and then I dove into this big piece that is supposedly my final piece. And I didn't get as much of the likeness of Miles as I wanted, but I incorporated some of my big idea was to have it be about time travel. And so this sort of, there are cogs from a clock or a watch, and this is sort of an infinity symbol, and this harkens back to my Celtic roots. And so it was sort of a portrait incorporating some of my abstract ideas, but I don't really like it that much. You know, it's better than, it got better as I worked on it, but I quit and I went back to pencil and drew this. I don't know if you can see it with the glass on it. And I think I really got Miles. And so, you know, it's just, I don't know that I actually have a finished piece. I think I have an evolution of 3 separate pieces that I like seeing them all together and seeing how, even as one artist, I did so many different looking pieces for the same project.
I would like to ask what the symbol is behind her head. Is that like a Celtic knot of some sort? And how does it relate to what you were going for?
Well, so one of my struggles in my duality between my right and left brain, between my my yearning for control and also loosening up, and being of Celtic descent, but growing up in the Southwest surrounded by Native American culture, I identify more with Native American culture spiritually, but I feel like it's cultural appropriation and I don't want to go there. But I don't have a connection with my Celtic roots. So I'm yearning for it, I'm seeking it, I'm reaching out for it. I don't know what it means, if it has meaning, but it is a Celtic knot. It's a true knot where every single line goes over then under. No matter what's happening, it goes over then under, then over then under. And anybody can make a knot if you just follow that rule. Mm-hmm. So that's what that is. And it's sort of bringing in, trying to own my Celticness, I guess.
I like that.
So is it watercolor, ink, or what?
Yeah, so it's watercolor. Well, it's so many different things. It's watercolor, some color pencil, some ink, ink pens, and then this is gold leaf. In the background, it's got watercolor with salt, and I think I used some masking fluid. Yeah, for these spots, I did masking fluid. And part of what I don't like is that I masked her whole figure and then peeled it off, and it didn't all come off, so it's kind of streaky and funky. And it's not that it's terrible, it just wasn't my intention, which is how watercolor goes.
Right.
You never get what your intention is exactly.
Yeah, so it was interesting that she said something about duality and her struggling with two sides of herself, Joan, because that's kind of like I struggled really hard with this too. And I struggle sort of putting meaning into things or putting my heart in it, maybe. A lot of times I paint birds, and I do that because I love birds, but it's not like there's no like deep, profound, I'm not putting like, hopefully it makes people happy, but this is a different thing for me. And I have this analytical background and an art background. And so I fight with myself a lot. And there's a lot of struggle here with like trying to stay loose, but also being really tight about things. And I don't paint a lot of people, but I really, I wanted it to be a lot looser than this, and the background, I don't know, there were a lot of struggles. And I'm glad that there are so many birds because that's my comfort zone. But I also tried to make them a little looser than usual too. Like you can see through them, and I left a lot of details out that I wouldn't normally do. And so I'm so nervous talking about it. So the idea here was really just to have this goddess, but you're not sure which one, right? And all the birds are associated with different goddesses, and some of them are associated with more than one across cultures. And there's this even more duality because there's feminine and masculine in all of us, right? And even within feminine, there's this, you can be nurturing and motherly or whatever, but also really fierce. So that's why I wanted to put the swords and all of that. There's a whole bunch of different symbolism for different goddesses in there. And, everybody keeps talking right now about this divine feminine uprising. And we have masculine and feminine in us. So I wanted to kind of represent all of that and, have my bird comfort zone.
So I would like to ask you, you have all of the birds outlined in, I'm not sure what you used for that, paint or...
It's like an acrylic pen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all the birds are, but you didn't do it to the main figure or to the snake. So I'm just wondering, was that like an intentional thing or just like design thing?
Yeah, I think it was because I tried to make some of them more like transparent, and I wanted them to be, I wanted everything to have this sort of spirit, but not necessarily a glow, because I didn't want to make it too like on the nose. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted it to be sort of this like spirit aspect, but sort of abstracted, if that makes sense.
No, I think it's cool. And it kind of ties them together and gives them a looser look because it's kind of...
And honestly, there's so much going on that toward the end I was like, if I go through and put more teal everywhere, I think it's going to be too much. And also everything, there's a lot, right? So it just is. So I was trying to kind of, at the end, sort of make choices about when to stop,
Yeah.
which is hard too as an artist.
Yeah. No, I think you got it just right though.
Yay, thank you. Well, I don't paint a lot of realism stuff, and there's not a lot of, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this pomegranate, and then and then that happened, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You can do it.
I can do it.
Does this make you want to do more figures?
Yeah, well, I had been kind of telling myself that I wanted to go there anyway. And so I was really excited about this because then, it was a good vehicle for me to get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should,
Yeah. I have another one already on my easel.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Girl.
With more birds, obviously.
So this is Inanna, the Queen of Heaven. And usually my process is I kind of look at whatever reference that I'm working with and see what I can pull out of that. And in this case, Miles really did have these tattoos, the snake tattoo around her arm, and she had these wings on her back. And I first took a bunch of pictures and I kind of crowdsourced the idea. I said, here are the 7 pictures. I've narrowed it down to vote on which ones you think I should do. And this one got the most votes, was the back view, which I thought was going to be fun because I almost never do back views of people. I do lots and lots of figures, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. But this was something different. And so I was like, okay, I want to do something that speaks to the wings, but not an angel, because I'm not a Christian, and there's lots of other things out there that also are women with wings. So then I got to be nerdy and go look up all kinds of mythology and try to find the right person for her to be. And it turned out that Inanna, who is the Sumerian goddess of love, sex, and war, and also kind of the sky, is her domain. I did that, and I did this much more loosely than I normally work in watercolor. I'm usually very, very tight, very detailed, so I was trying to just do fun stuff. I did put a bunch of primordial planets and celestial bodies in the background that aren't anything specific. Like, one might be the moon, but they also might be other things that she is kind of creating or calling into being. And I was going to keep this all in blues and purples, but as I was filling in some of the detail with colored pencil, I just was like, oh, we need to have some green in there. So we got this nice acid green and just a little bit of pink to kind of delineate the highlights from the shadows. So I like to do that with color and warmth and cool, as well as just dark and light, because it pops more. So that's what I did with her.
Beautiful.
I think that's really nice to see you kind of loosen up a little and not be so tight. I mean, your other stuff is good too, but this is kind of nice to see a little difference.
Yeah, and it was fun to do. It was fun to work in a completely different style.
I love her glowy, sort of iridescent glow because of the green and the pink that you added in at the end.
Well, and also the way you have the light coming from the other side of her and lighting up her palms. And I mean, she glows. It's really cool.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, this was the second attempt at a lotus. The first one that I did not at all turn out the way I had envisioned it. And I wanted to make sure that I had the lotus pod in here and that I had it loose enough to remove, so that when the female form is attached to the pod, it'll break down so that it can be packed or removed a lot easier, which is really one of the most critical things when it comes to transporting 3D work. So the clay body has a speckle finish in it, and I used underglaze and a white engobe to get it that brushed watercolory look on all the petals, and then underglaze on the actual lily pad or lotus pad. And I'm drawn to the lotus because for me it's a really spiritual flower, in the sense that you know, lotuses just don't, you don't throw a seed in the water and then all of a sudden you have a lotus. That root has to take hold in mud. And I kind of relate it to the idea of, you know, we all get in muddy places, but yet we blossom as we come into being or come into ourself. So the representation of the lotus was a lot based on that. And then I had really envisioned, based on Miles' modeling, where she was standing up and sort of almost at a jumping off place, like going airborne. And I did a maquette, which was a wire and masking tape maquette, and I just didn't like the way the legs were needing to be positioned and the arms. So I scrapped that and I started sculpting in a really warm clay body that did not like to be sculpted. It's really for wheel throwing. So this is the second attempt in clay, but the third model, if you will. And this idea of this birthing, she has a pregnancy or that sort of goddess belly of birthing. She's contemplative, but yet very aware of her surroundings. And then this idea of the monarch, and we all probably know the story of the monarch and how in their pre-butterfly stage, the process that it goes through, and I probably won't say the word right, chrysalis, which comes from the worm and then this sort of rebirthing. And so I really wanted to carry out the idea of the monarch, and Miles had one of her outfits had the monarch wings in it. That's what really got me going based on that. Now she still needs to be fired because this is the attempt to the final image that I want, and of course it does not look like Miles, but I really wanted to capture the idea of this goddess figure, the plenty, and also this sort of goddess-like hair, although it does mimic the dreads that Miles had. So once she's fired, she'll shrink a little bit, and she's going to set really nice right inside of here. And it's, you know, it's one thing I probably will place it on a battery-operated rotating piece so that as it's displayed, it'll be rotating around. But you can kind of get the idea without really damaging her, but she'll sit really nice inside that lotus.
And I think the monarch wings really go with the lotus too, because it's like the blooming and then the freedom that comes with that.
It does, and you know, all the struggles that women in general have had in the lifetime of a patriarchal world, this idea of really shedding all that stuff that we have no purpose for in that patriarchal world, and being able to fly free, move up and into the world. And I like to tie it to Kim's with the Sicilian background. I'm a quarter Sicilian, and so the idea of the female, and there's actually the town where I believe my family's from is referenced as the three sisters or the three women. So it's very much embracing the feminine world.
So my piece is about this kind of like middle-aged woman here, really going into a space of honoring all phases of being a woman, like being the maiden here, being the mother and the crone, and that each one is really beautiful and powerful. A crow came in for me in this piece. And I feel like it's because I have this connection with crows where when they fly in, they seem to be really present with us. Like their level of presence can be really powerful. And then the sound that they make is like, kind of like this really powerful reminder of I'm here with you, like the divine is here. So that's kind of what it means to me and why I put the crow in there. Chickadees are like that too, but I really like the impact of the wings. I like wings. And I put this pattern, you can see it's on my sweater too. I just love that pattern. And in this piece, I love putting these paper cutouts underneath in the gesso. I'm starting to do that in all of my work. I kind of want it to be part of my style. I love the way that paint captures on top of that, or that the way the ink drips around it. This is just like energy building and going up throughout everything. And I'm not sure I'm quite done with it yet. I might still add some glazes. The person that bought it might want an Ankh symbol in there, which I'm like, if we invite ancient Egyptian, I might as well keep going with that, right? And who knows what'll happen. But we'll see. Yeah, and I really I'm in this shifting of my artwork where I'm adding more abstract textures. So it was really fun to get the texture down here. And throughout the piece, actually, there's this abstract background. So I'm really working with bringing form in, focusing a form and then going out to abstract.
Basically, I started with painting the background. So the moon and the dark colors in the background. And then I sculpted the head and hair and the cow skull out of epoxy clay, which is like an air drying clay that you can then paint over. So then I had to paint that. And then I painted her figure, glued down all the pieces, let that dry. And then I put down a coat of epoxy resin, poured on, and it hardens pretty much overnight. And lastly, I embellish with all the little glass rhinestones to look like stars. And that's about it.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Now you use a lot of cow skulls in your work. So does that have any significant meaning to you?
To me, it's kind of like a Southwestern thing, very kind of symbolic out here. In this instance, it was kind of representing, being that it's a bull skull, or I assume it's a bull, so male, and it's kind of like symbolizing the patriarchy, and she's holding it, kind of foreshadowing her own future, but for the moment being, she's kind of decapitating the patriarchy. So a little dark. But overall, I think they're just kind of cool Southwestern things.
Right.
And that's it.
Come and get happy. Come and get happy now. Come and get happy. Come and get happy now. Whatever lights you up. There's nothing in this world